The story starts with a man named Samson. He enters a nightclub that also serves as a hub for human trafficking. Samson is arranging a contract with a trafficking network for victims trafficking that night. Samson offers a big enough sum, and the cartel's leader appears delighted to meet him. Samson suddenly strikes everyone in the ring with a knife after placing some money on the table. Finally, he and the rest of the criminal gang engage in combat. Despite the fact that he is alone, he can effortlessly defeat each member of the criminal syndicate one by one. He is a former special forces man and a top police officer. As a result, his fighting abilities are unparalleled. After successfully defeating all criminal gang members, he proceeds to a chamber to find Victor and save him. He informs Victor that he is an errand boy sent by his mother to bring him back. They then go to the basement and ride their motorcycle out of the club. Before Samson leaves, he starts the remote timer, which detonates the bombs hidden in various cars and nooks throughout the neighborhood. A big explosion occurs in the structure a few seconds later. The explosion kills everyone in the trafficking group. He had neglected something vital, unbeknownst to Samson. All of the prisoners in the building will be killed by the explosion and fire. A police phone call wakes Samson up the next morning. He is summoned to the burn trafficking hotspot. When an investigator named Steve arrives on the scene, he is outraged and disappointed in him for what he did the night before. He unintentionally killed several of the children who were being held captive there. The bulk of the victims died as a result of carbon dioxide poisoning caused by the fire. Inspector Steve Sampson, a former member of the Special Police Unit, says he is still employed personally by some parties. Despite his desire to save the child, his actions resulted in the deaths of others and enormous financial losses for the police. Steve tells him to resign from his position and refrain from interfering with police problems. He switches occupations and becomes a butcher during the next 6 months, living a normal life like everyone else. He is still terrified of the mistakes he made 6 months ago. He saw reflections of the flames he started all the time. Following that, a family from the United States travels to Moldova. The father, Faden, is married to Monica. They have a teenage daughter named Becky. They plan to stay in a hotel when they arrived at Moldova's international airport that morning. They appear to be having a good time in Moldova. Faden will participate there as an MMA fighter. Faden is photographing his lovely daughter unknowing that a woman named Amelia is photographing her from behind. Becky requests permission from her father to go to the balcony in search of a more stable cell phone network. When they check into the motel. Meanwhile, Faden is glued to the television, following M&A proceedings. Becky runs into Amelia, who is standing on the balcony of the adjoining room. The signal on the lobby floor, according to Amelia, is more stable than the signal on their floor. Faden then searches for Becky while yelling her name. When Faden comes to the balcony to check on his daughter, he only finds the laptop on the table. He then tries to call her cell phone but gets no answer. Meanwhile, Monica is unaware of Becky's whereabouts because she has been in the restroom since they arrived. Faden becomes anxious when he cannot locate her and immediately informs the hotel manager. The hotel's CCTV is examined, but no hints are discovered. Faden then calls the media, and news of Becky's absence immediately spreads. Because Faden is a well-known and renowned former champion MMA fighter, the Moldovan police immediately gather all of their members to hunt for Becky's whereabouts. Samson watches the news of Becky's disappearance while taking a break from his hard work at the butcher shop. Becky's parents, Faden and Monica, visit Samson shortly after to ask for help in finding their daughter. Faden claims that someone from the American embassy directed him to pay him a visit and request aid. He adds that he is unable to assist them because he is merely a regular human. Monica, who formerly worked as a cop, recognizes his tattoo and knows he worked in a secret police division. Faden and Monica implore Samson for aid in finding their daughter, even offering a large sum of money. He declines the appeal, though, because he is still devastated by his earlier blunders. His son Selwyn comes to see him that evening, just as he is ready to close up shop and return home. Selwyn is the American embassy employee who recommended Samson to Becky's parents. Selwyn tries to persuade his father to help Becky's parents recover their missing teen daughter. According to Selwyn, the police are powerless to intervene since specific officials continue to protect the genuine crime group. However, Samson declines the request once more. Faden hasn't given up and continues to seek people on the roadway near the nightclub for assistance in finding his daughter. When Faden walks into a bar to inquire while clutching a photo of Becky, other guys mock him, alleging that Faden is incapable of caring for his daughter. This quickly elicits his emotions, and he begins fighting some men. He can't defeat them on his own since there are too many of them, and they beat him brutally. Fortunately, a man with a black mask appears from nowhere and beats all of the men in the tavern. Samson, the man in the black mask, has been following Faden for quite some time. Samson then takes Faden to his butcher shop to be treated for his injuries. When Faden arrives at Samson's butcher shop, Samson assures him that he is eager to help him recover his daughter as long as Samson works alone and without interruption. Samson travels to the home of a businessman named Lucas the next night. Samson first disguises himself as a messenger in order to get entry to the gate guard post and assassinate the guard. He then enters the security control center and the Lucas room undetected by the other guards. He quickly apprehends Lucas and asks him about Becky's location after entering Lucas' room. Lucas claims he had no knowledge of her disappearance. Hearing this, Samson threatens Lucas with gathering and disclosing information on her. And if it is discovered that Lucas is the mastermind behind all of these crimes, Samson will return to assassinate him. And it turns out he was correct in his prediction. Lucas is the mastermind behind Becky's kidnapping. After Samson has left, Lucas orders Flat, one of his men, to assassinate Becky. After hearing Lucas' directions, Amelia and her companion were flat shot to clear the trail before threatening Becky with gasoline. The following day, authorities locate a burnt body that they believe is Becky's. Becky's bracelet, which was found on the corpse's left arm, attests to this. Samson, who is still unclear after inspecting the body, requests a DNA test to identify who the body belonged to. Faden, Monica, and Samson then go to the hospital to wait for the results of the DNA tests on the bodies. Monica sobbed after learning from the forensic doctor that the body was Becky's. She smacked Samson hard since she blames everything on his reckless behavior. The next morning, Faden and Monica prepare to return to America, while Samson drowns his sorrows in alcohol. Lucas and his men soon arrive at Samson's butcher shop to demand vengeance for his actions. The previous day, Samson is still intoxicated and unable to fight back when a Lucas henchman lashes his back with iron chains. He can, thankfully, climb back up and battle all of Lucas' thugs. The gunfight between Samson and Lucas, as well as all of his thugs, is brutal, but Samson survives. He has an odd recollection of the jewels on Becky's left hand. Samson remembers Becky wearing her bracelet on her right wrist all the time, thus he feels the body discovered by police the other day is not Becky's. He then immediately departs for the international airport to meet Faden and Monica. When he gets at the airport, he immediately approaches them. He then claims Becky is still alive and describes the bands on Becky's hands. The forensic doctor who examined the body, according to Samson, may have been bribed by the suspect in Becky's kidnapping. The three go straight to the previous hospital to arrest a forensic doctor. Monica and Faden forced the doctor to reveal who had paid him after he was arrested. According to the doctor, Stelu is the person who paid him to fake the DNA test results. Stelu is Moldova's deputy defense minister and the owner of a human trafficking business. Stelu occasionally kidnaps American girls because he enjoys having American girls serve him. He is aware that the forensic doctor revealed his secret to the three that day. He tells Flat to address Becky's parents' problems after hearing the doctor's call. Samson, on the other hand, sends Faden and Monicato to a safe location away from Stella. He puts the previously stored armaments back together. Meanwhile, Becky is seen being held hostage in a rural location far from cities. Becky takes her smartphone and phones her father's number when the guards around her become careless. Faden and Monica are able to locate Becky using the phone signal, but it turns out that this is all part of the kidnappers' plan to capture Faden and Monica. They immediately summon Samson to bring them to Kyornia prison. Samson attempts to persuade them not to follow in the suspect's footsteps. In the kidnapping, Faden and Monica arrive at the location and immediately hunt for a way in. They proceed immediately inside the area because it is heavily guarded by armed forces. After successfully removing the gatekeeper, they discreetly follow the guard from behind after observing one of them holding their daughter. Once again, everything is put up to catch them. Fortunately, Samson comes just in time to prevent the guards from shooting them. They walk into the building. They rush over to a woman who resembles Becky after collecting the key from one of the fallen guards. However, it turns out that the girl is not Becky, but rather another victim of the criminal group. They decide to let go, save the girl, and continue their search for Becky. On the way, they are met by many armed guards. Samson immediately blasted the armed guards, obscuring their vision with smoke gas. Flat, who is watching the incident from behind the monitor, tells his henchmen to surround Samson and the others. The shootout between the thugs and Samson's men is inescapable. As he watches Flat's goons perish, he removes his thugs and gives Faden the option of Becky or the woman Samson had spared before. Flat threatens to kill Becky if Faden does not agree to the trade, thus they are forced to do it. Samson feels this maneuver is a trap, therefore he intends to monitor the exchange from a safe distance in order to find Flat's mercenary sniper. Flat immediately instructs his soldiers to kill Becky's parents after the exchange, but Samson intervenes. He'd already dispatched 2 of the snipers. Cops arrive at the same moment and surround the area. Fortunately, the girl who swapped places with Becky earlier survives because Samson gave her the rifle. The girl shoots Flat in the head and he dies. Finally, Flat has released all of the American girls who were kept captive. Samson and Selwyn drive the Fadens back to Moldova's international airport the next day. Stella goes to church to pray because he regrets his actions. Samson appears out of nowhere and shoots him dead, proclaiming that God may forgive him, but Samson will not. The movie ends here. Please like and subscribe my channel.